As police say that the suspect, the shooter, was killed in a firefight with police. Aaron Alexis, 34 years old, believed to be from Fort Worth, Texas. We don't have a motive for this as of yet. Let's bring in an expanded panel tonight. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume, Steve Hayes, senior writer for the Weekly Standard, Mara Liasson, national political correspondent for National Public Radio, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Just want to warn you, I want to interrupt if Ed Henry gets us more information from the White House. Brit, your thoughts on this day as we've dealt with a day of tense situations here?
Well, 13 people are dead, counting the shooter. We think we know who was responsible. We don't know why. We think we know what, in terms of the nature of the crime, basically a mass shooting of the kind we've become all too familiar with, but we don't know how exactly. How did he get in? How did he manage to come into possession inside this secure military base, supposedly, of these weapons, or weapon? We don't know. We've got a lot to learn, and I think it's very early to draw any conclusions. I think a lot of the usual suspects have gone to battle stations, as they always do, over gun control or the lack of it or whatever, and that's going to happen, but it doesn't mean very much at this stage. Hard to believe that after what happened in Newtown, nothing came of it in Congress. Much of that issue is going to come of this.
Steve.
Yeah, incredibly difficult day, I think, particularly for people who are working down at the Navy Yard. It will be very interesting to see where this goes moving forward. The President gave a speech today that I think for some struck people as somewhat tone deaf, the fact that he gave a speech that was certainly a bitter partisan attack on Republicans, particularly on these budget issues, as this situation was unfolding. The fact that Kathy Lanier, head of the Washington, D.C. Metro Police Department, had come out and said, we don't know a lot of this, had alerted people to the fact that there could be 2 additional gunmen. The White House decided to go against it, and then Ed Henry reports that there wasn't really even a discussion about whether to postpone the speech or not proceed. I think, to Brit's point, if the President were inclined, or if the White House were inclined, and his colleagues, political supporters, were inclined to resurrect the campaign on gun control, I think the fact that the President spoke today the way that he did would make that a more difficult challenge.
Mara, take a listen to Fort Worth Telegram. They had some people describing this guy, Aaron Alexis. He worked at a Thai restaurant called the Happy Bowl in Fort Worth. Listen to them talk about this guy.
Very sweet. Is not a guy that talked about guns or talked about anything, violent. As a matter of fact, my best memories of him were him sitting at one of the tables at Happy Bowl, trying to teach himself Thai. He was a student of the language, and he had traveled to Thailand about 6 months ago. Not a year ago. Spent more than a month there. We kept saying, "When's Aaron coming back? When's Aaron coming back?" And he had just stayed in Thailand for a long time.
Mara.
Well, it's almost a cliche now, that he was a very quiet man. He kept to himself, but we don't know much about him. We certainly have absolutely no clue about a motive. But, picking up about what Steve was talking about, my prediction is this will not spark a new round of high-level debate about gun control. Sure, some people are going to talk about it, but I don't think you're going to see the President pick this up. I really don't. I think, as you saw today, he's really eager to get back to the big, epic battle with Congress over the debt ceiling and the budget. I think he would have been better saving the remarks maybe for another time, because nobody listened to them, and if they did, they probably heard a tone that was not appropriate for today. But I don't think we're going to be back where we were after Newtown.
Okay, I just want to interrupt. This is Ed Henry in our urgent system here saying he heard at least 2 gunshots outside the Northwest Gate, saw Secret Service officers engage, others running around. They just locked down the lawn, and I think we have new video of Secret Service agents taking down someone who had a gun, and those are uniformed officers, the Capitol, the police and Secret Service, and there you see the officers taking someone down. Now, this has happened before, people firing weapons at the White House. On this day, obviously, everything is heightened, but on most days, security is very tight around the White House. It seems like they have it locked down at this point. Again, 2 shots fired, and this person in custody. All right, Charles.
Well, look, this new incident could either be copycat, random, or associated. It seems unlikely that it's associated because it's at the White House, presumably, and the Naval Yard is rather far away, and this town has been guarded for the last 12, 15 hours, unlike any other city in the world, so that's unlikely. But if it is an associate, then we have a large issue here. Generally, when you have a shooting, it's either someone with a grievance or someone with an ideology or somebody who doesn't have anything because he's deranged, like a Jared Loughner in Tucson. From the evidence, which is quite scant now, it doesn't look as if he has an ideology. He may have had a grievance. Apparently, he had some trouble with the Navy, so he strikes in a Navy Yard, which would fit that pattern. There isn't any evidence of an ideology, so it could be one of these terrible, tragic events where someone, has a motive, which is a personal one, has no larger political meaning, and a lot of people end up dying tragically for nothing.
Brett, as D.C. Police is still looking with the FBI for someone else, and we spent most of the day wondering if there were other shooters, it really changes the dynamic if there really were 2 shooters or 3 shooters. I mean, it changes the story.
Of course it does, and of course they eliminated the possibility of a third, so we're down to the possibility that there was a second shooter, and they haven't eliminated that. My sense about it from listening to all the comments today is that they doubt it, but that they haven't been able to completely establish that there was no second shooter. People see things, as a number of the experts have been in here today, say people see things all the time at the scene of these incidents, and they interpret them in a certain way, and by the time it reaches the authorities, people end up not really having seen what they thought they saw, and the police have to run all that down and check it out and make sure that it's not incorrect. But, if there was they believe there was a gunman on the loose in the city, and they couldn't place him, there would have been a bigger lockdown around this town than there was. I mean, one house of Congress shut down. It wasn't even the one nearest the Navy Yard. It was the Senate, not the House, although the House is not in session. So my sense is that this looks, at least for the time being, and it's early yet, as if there were probably only one.
It would have been like Boston. It would have been like Boston.
Had they locked down the whole city.
Right.